Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. I am your host, and I am so thrilled to have you with us today.
And I am your expert. Really looking forward to getting into this material with you.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating one. So today, we are looking at a really compelling stack of sources.
Very compelling, yeah.
We're focusing on this major transition from part one of a broader journey into part two. Specifically, we are zeroing in on two chapters, Chapter 20, which is called the Fitness Tracker, and Chapter 21, the Steadfast Drum.
All right, and the mission of this deep dive, what we really want to help you, the listener, do today is bridge this massive gap we all seem to have right now.
Yes, the gap between simply, auditing your life through data and actually inhabiting your physical body.
Because that's the goal, right? Moving away from the safety of these vanity metrics and heavily curated dashboards into the actual kind of messy, high-definition reality of being a fully alive human.
Okay, let's unpack this because this is really the core tension of the modern world. We are completely drowning in data about our bodies right now.
Oh, absolutely drowning.
I mean, we have rings, we have watches, we have smart beds, yet paradoxically, we have never been more physically disconnected from ourselves.
It's true. We have so much information, but no real connection to the source of it.
Exactly. So I want you, the listener, to just think about your morning routine for a second. When you woke up today, do you check your smartwatch sleep score before deciding if you actually felt rested?
I feel like everyone is guilty of that to some degree.
Oh, I do it all the time. And that perfectly sets the stage for the profound unlearning that our source material is asking of us today.
Yeah, and the source is open with this really powerful, almost cinematic scene that illustrates this perfectly.
Right, the scene with the traveler at the gym.
Exactly. So there's this recurring protagonist in the text known as the Traveler, and they're at the gym, just walking slowly on a treadmill, staring intensely at a smartwatch.
Under those harsh fluorescent lights.
Yeah, exactly. And the watch is reading off all these stats. It says 7,342 steps, 62 milliseconds HRV, 4 cycles, 1,847 calories burned.
It's just a wall of numbers.
But then the Traveler has this really chilling realization right there on the treadmill. None of this data is actually telling them if they're okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that hits hard because it's just raw data. It has no context.
Right. And the sources point out this critical error that modern humans make. They call it mistaking the map for the territory.
The map replaces the territory. I love that concept.
Yeah, it's this idea that the metric becomes the goal itself. We stop asking, am I healthy? And we start asking, did I hit my step count?
We completely lose the plot. We care more about the representation of the thing than the actual thing.
Precisely. And what's fascinating here is how the source breaks this down into two very distinct categories to help explain it. Vanity metrics versus health metrics.
Right. They use this analogy of two different apps on your phone. App one is all vanity metrics,
Which the text refers to as success theater.
Success theater.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is your weight, your body fat percentage, social media followers, your income, maybe a productivity score at work.
Yeah, all these external markers, they are performative.
And then you have app two, which is the health metrics. These are your internal markers that indicate actual life quality. So things like your baseline energy level, your sleep quality, your stress level.
And even things like meaningful connections and moments of joy.
Right. And the hard truth the sources lay out here, and this is a tough pill to swallow, is that you can have perfect vanity metrics while your health metrics are just completely in the toilet.
Absolutely. You can hit your exact weight goal and be totally exhausted, or you can hit your follower count goal and be entirely lonely.
It's so true. I mean, you can look incredible on paper, but feel miserable in your actual life.
Because the vanity metrics are just a facade if the health metrics aren't there to back them up.
Okay, I hear all of this, and I agree with the philosophy, but I had to play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
Because I really love my smartwatch. I like the little buzz on my wrist when I hit my goals. It motivates me. So isn't throwing away all this data like driving a high-performance car and, just putting tape over the dashboard?
That's a great analogy. And the expert in the text actually addresses this exact kind of pushback.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, because the source isn't saying that fitness trackers are evil or that we should just throw them in the river. It's not about abandoning data entirely.
Okay, good. Because I'd miss my step counter.
Right. It's really asking a question of authority. The tracker, it has millions of data points, right? But it has zero actual wisdom.
Right. It measures everything but understands nothing.
Exactly. The tracker is a tool, but we have somehow turned it into our master. We let it dictate our reality instead of just informing it.
That is such a crucial distinction, which leads right into the dark side of all this tracking, what the text calls the metric audit.
Yeah, the dark side of gamifying our health. They talk about streak anxiety.
Streak anxiety. Oh my gosh, I have suffered from this.
I think we all have. The text describes this scenario where someone pushes through a 30-day meditation or workout streak even when they are actively sick.
Like delirious with a fever, or they have a sprained ankle, but they just have to close those digital rings.
Exactly. And why do we do that? Because we start valuing the digital streak over our body's actual needs. The metric is running us instead of serving us.
It's so backwards when you really think about it. And to combat this, the sources provide this really brutal but necessary 4-part metric audit.
Yeah, it's an assessment that the listener can actually try themselves.
So step 1 of the audit, what are you currently measuring? Is it steps, calories, income? Just figure out what your metrics are.
And then step 2, why? Who actually decided that this metric matters?
Right. Was it you? Was it society? Was it just this urge to compare yourself to someone on the internet?
Usually it's the latter.
Yeah. Then step 3, how do you feel when the number goes wrong?
This is the telling one.
It really is. Like, if a bad weigh-in on the scale ruins your entire day, the text says that metric has way too much power over you.
It's become your master, not your tool.
And then the 4th question, which honestly I find terrifying. What would you track if no one else could ever see it?
It's a scary question because it strips away all the performative aspects of our lives. All the success theater.
Right. If you couldn't post about it, would you still track it? Like, how often do I feel at peace? How much did I laugh today?
Exactly. And this leads to a really interesting extrapolation in the text about how we define personal records, or PRs.
Oh yeah, break this down, because this changes the whole idea of competition.
So, in this new paradigm, sustainable competition is only ever you versus past you. It's never you versus some fitness influencer on Instagram.
Right. It's an internal benchmark, not an external one.
Yeah. It's asking yourself things like, am I recovering from stress faster than I used to? That's a real PR.
I love that. And it ties into this massive shift the expert explains in the text, the shift from optimization to maintenance.
This is huge because society demands constant optimization from us. Always improving, always pushing harder, doing more.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is exhausting, and the text argues that this constant optimization is a direct path to burnout. It's just not sustainable.
So what's the alternative? How do we approach this sustainably?
By focusing on maintenance and recognizing different operational zones. So first, you have your stable baseline, which is the green zone.
Okay, green is good. Things are functioning well.
Right. Then you have to recognize when you are slipping, which is the yellow zone, you're losing a bit of your buffer.
Like when you start feeling a bit snappy or you're missing sleep.
Exactly. And then, crucially, you have to know when you are in the red zone. And when you hit the red zone, you have to stop optimizing entirely and just focus on recovery.
Which is the exact opposite of what most people do. Usually when we feel terrible, we're like, I need to start a new brutal diet and workout plan immediately.
Right. We try to optimize our way out of exhaustion, which just drives us deeper into the red zone.
So how do we actually track our state without falling back into the trap? Because the text tells this story about analysis paralysis that is just so relatable.
Oh, the 7-app story.
Yes. The traveler decides to track their habits, but it gets so out of hand that they are checking 7 different apps before even getting out of bed.
And the tracking itself becomes more stressful than the actual habits they were trying to build.
Exactly. So the text proposes designing the ultimate dashboard, and it takes literally 30 seconds a day, using only 3 core metrics.
Just 3 numbers. It really simplifies things.
So number 1 is energy level on a scale of 1 to 10. Basically, are you resourced or are you depleted?
Right. Number 2 is stress level, also 1 to 10. Is your nervous system sustainable or are you completely fried?
And number 3 is connection score, from 0 to 5. How many meaningful interactions did you have today? Are you relationally nourished or are you starving?
It's such a holistic way to look at well-being, and the text organizes these into what it calls the metric hierarchy pyramid.
Okay, yes. Walk us through the pyramid.
So at the very foundation of the pyramid, the bottom layer, you have sleep, stress, energy, and HRV, heart rate variability.
Wait, I have to jump in here because here's where it gets really interesting. The source calls HRV the single most important metric that no one actually tracks.
Yeah, it's fascinating. HRV is crucial because it measures the adaptability of your nervous system.
It's like the ultimate truth teller of whether your current lifestyle is actually sustainable, right?
Exactly. A high HRV means your body can easily shift between stress and rest. A low HRV means you are stuck in a stress response.
So that's the foundation. What's the next level up?
Above the foundation is the process layer. This is your consistency and your effort.
Okay, the daily grind stuff.
Right. Then above that is the output layer, the actual work completed, projects finished.
And then at the very tiny top peak of the pyramid.
The vanity metrics, weight, followers, all of that.
And the rule is that you have to optimize from the bottom up, never from the top down. You can't sacrifice the foundation for the vanity peak.
Exactly. And the most important mindset to have when looking at this pyramid and your dashboard is what the source calls the golden rule. No shame, just data.
No shame, just data. I should get that tattooed.
It's so freeing, right? Because if your stress is a 10 today, it's not a moral failure. You didn't do something wrong as a human being.
It's just a data point showing a cliff that you need to navigate around tomorrow.
Precisely. Good tracking should increase your awareness without increasing your anxiety.
I love that. Okay, so with all those false external audits dismantled, the deep dive transitions us into Chapter 21, the Steadfast Drum.
Which is where things get really profound.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because the text argues that the modern condition is basically one of complete disembodiment.
Yeah, it claims that modern life is essentially a highly funded, very complex training camp for abandoning our bodies.
We are so conditioned to trust the UI, the mental processing, the thoughts, the anxieties over the actual machine, our physical sensation.
Right. And the traveler in the text has this moment where they realize they've turned their spiritual and physical practices into just another intellectual project.
They call it being a brain in a jar, thinking about being a body.
It's such a striking image, and it's so accurate for a lot of people.
It really is. We view the body as just this, meat suit that's hauling our brain from one meeting to the next.
But the text insists we have to stop viewing it that way. The body is the creator, not just the container. It's what translates our invisible impulses into tangible action.
So the text uses this tech analogy that I found really helpful. It says the mind is just the streaming service interface. It's where we curate and filter what we want to hear. But the body is the actual hardware. It's the physical speakers.
That's a great way to put it.
But I do have some pushback here.
Let's hear it.
Well, isn't the mind the captain of the ship? I mean, we've been taught mind over matter our entire lives. Push through the pain, ignore the fatigue.
This raises an important question, and it's something the source material directly addresses by contrasting two things: exercise versus movement.
Oh, right. This part was wild.
Yeah. So exercise, in the context of this text, is disembodied. It's performance-driven and external. The mind leads, and the body just has to follow.
They use this haunting metaphor, right? The body is a donkey.
Yes, the body is a donkey, and you are the rider whipping it to burn 500 calories.
Gosh, that sounds so aggressive.
It is. You arrive at the end of the workout with a cardiovascular benefit, sure, but you basically just practiced dissociation for an hour. You transported your body like luggage.
Transported like luggage. Wow. So how is movement different?
Movement is embodied, it's process-focused and internal. In movement, the body actually leads. It asks, what is here right now? What am I feeling?
And the expert in the source challenges the listener to try this. They suggest going for a 10-minute run without music, no podcasts, no screens, just feeling your lungs and your feet.
It sounds so simple, but for a lot of people, being alone with their physical sensations for 10 minutes is incredibly uncomfortable.
I would struggle with that so much. I always have a podcast playing. But the goal is to tune into the body's native rhythms, right?
Yeah.
To view it as this highly sophisticated internal GPS.
Exactly. It's a distributed network, and the text breaks down the components of this network beautifully.
So the brain is the central server.
Right. And the nervous system is like the fiber optic cables transmitting billions of signals.
The heart is the core power grid. And then the gut. This part blew my mind. The gut is the secondary processing unit. It's like a risk assessment algorithm.
Yeah. The enteric nervous system is incredibly powerful. When you feel butterflies in your stomach, that's actual data. That's your gut running a complex risk assessment.
So sensation is infallible data. Tight shoulders means unprocessed stress. Deep relaxation means you're aligned with your authentic path.
And we have to remember that we aren't just in nature, we are nature. We run on these macro and micro rhythms.
Circadian rhythms, the 24-hour sun cycles. And then ultradian rhythms, right?
Yes, those 90 to 120-minute cycles of focus and rest that we go through every day.
So practically speaking, what does this all mean for a regular Tuesday? Like, I have a job, I have kids. The text brings up this smart home manual override metaphor.
It's a perfect analogy for how to live this out.
So if your life is a highly optimized smart home, your calendar says 6:00 a.m. workout, but your body's internal GPS sends a notification saying severe exhaustion detected. What do you do?
Well, this is the profound difference between just rigid discipline and actual wisdom. Rigid automation is dangerous. The architect of a good life uses the manual override.
You literally just turn off the alarm and sleep.
Right, but there is a cardinal rule here. Override is for protection, not laziness.
Ah, okay. So you override because you have a fever and you need to prevent a system crash, not just because the bed is warm and you don't feel like moving.
Exactly. It requires radical honesty with yourself.
So to maintain all of this, the text offers some specific protocols. They frame them as firmware updates for the human machine.
Which I love. It really fits the tech analogy.
So the first one is mindful movement, which they equate to clearing the browser cache.
Yeah, it's just dancing or stretching or shaking to literally discharge the accumulated cookies of stress from your nervous system.
And the second update is conscious breathing. The Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete for the nervous system.
Because it instantly shifts you from the fight or flight sympathetic state into the rest and digest parasympathetic state.
It's incredible how fast a deep breath actually works mechanically. And then the third update is deep grounding, or earthing.
Plugging into the original power grid. The text calls the Earth the ultimate wireless charging station.
Getting your bare feet on the ground. Which leads into this really fascinating concept they call embodied disruption.
The ad blocker for the soul.
Yes. They mentioned doing a social media feed audit. And to impartially report on what the text is arguing here, because they have a very specific view on algorithms, they say the feed is designed to scream at you, be scared, be outraged by this.
And a grounded, embodied person is a massive problem for that system.
Because they have internal authority.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the algorithm relies on you being disembodied and anxious. But an embodied person feels their own pulse, feels the chair they sit in and says, I am safe, I am breathing. This outrage on my screen is just noise.
The body literally overrules the algorithm. I mean, think about how empowering that is.
It changes everything.
The body isn't an obstacle to our spiritual or intellectual growth. It's the ultimate truth pillar. Because the body never sugarcoats reality.
It really is the ultimate goal of the Steadfast Drum. Shifting from a fragmented, mind-heavy existence to holistic integration.
Where these practices stop being chores you just tick off a list and they become the very ground you walk on.
Exactly.
Well, to summarize our journey today, we really moved from the illusion of the fitness tracker, where data replaces meaning, to the visceral reality of the body's steadfast drum, where sensation is the ultimate guide.
It's a huge paradigm shift.
It really is. And I want to leave you, the listener, with the final ultimate metric from the source material. At the end of the day, do not ask, was I productive or did my numbers go up?
Ask only, did I feel like myself today?
Did I feel like myself today? And here is a final provocative thought to mull over. We spend billions of dollars trying to hack our bodies, suppress our symptoms, and numb our discomfort to fit into this relentless modern schedule.
Right, constantly medicating away the glitches.
But what if the very physical ailments, the fatigue, and the glitches we constantly try to suppress are actually our highest form of intelligence? What if your body is desperately trying to break the machinery of your current life because it knows, long before your mind does, that you are meant for a completely different path?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
It really is. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. I encourage you to truly inhabit your physical space today. Take care, everyone.